I said, I am out of the traditional disease care and I am focused on health and wellness.
Were you scared to switch?
I was terrified.
I thought it was like the medical practice.
Here's the thing about the medical practice. There's sick people everywhere. There's no shortage of sick people. So you show up and you provide the service. I never talked about finances. I never talked about money. There was a different department for that. All I had to do was show up and take care of patients, and we got paid, and we got paid very well. So leaving that, I went from being a doctor to a health coach. I was coaching people on their health, and now I had to convince people to spend their own money to do all the work. Whereas before in the hospital, they didn't even choose to see me. No one chooses to come into the hospital. You come because you have to. I didn't have to convince anybody to come into the hospital. Now I have to convince people that they need to change their health and change their lifestyle. Oh, and by the way, insurance doesn't cover it. You got to pay for it. I was terrified to walk away from all of that money. I basically was a glorified drug dealer. That's really, if you think about it, that's what it is. I was a glorified legal drug dealer because that's all I did was write for prescriptions all day long, in and out of the hospital. That's all I did. And there were insurance companies, there was pharmaceutical companies, there was the hospital, there was like the whole medical industry would gladly advertise and promote and give me all the business that I could have as long as I kept writing those prescriptions.
When you realize all of that, is that when you regretted going to medical school?
You know what? That's a very good question. I never really regretted going to medical school. Now, would I do it again? Probably not. That was a lot of work. And just knowing what I know now, I probably wouldn't go to medical school. But I'm so very happy that I did because if I did not, I wouldn't know the contrast. And there's a need for doctors. There's a need for crisis care. If someone has pneumonia, you need a doctor. If someone breaks their ankle, you need surgery, right? So I'm grateful, and it taught me the body, right? The anatomy, all it was. I'm very happy that I went through everything because everything that I went through, bad, good, whatever, it led me to here. If I didn't go to medical school, you wouldn't be here. Someone else probably would be here. Who knows who they would be? But everything that I did led me to here. If I didn't go to medical school, my dad still would have died, and I wouldn't have known why. He was 64.
Oh.
That's it. He wasn't even that old. But I would have made excuses for it. Oh, it's genetics. Oh, it just happens. Oh, it's blah, 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 blah. I wouldn't have known what I know now. I wouldn't be able to help the people that I help now. There's a lot of people that trust me because I did go to medical school and I know both sides of it. There's some people that are on a lot of medications and they need help navigating that. So I'm able to do that. So I'm grateful. I'm very grateful for all the experiences. So I don't regret it.
And when you first started your business, like how long did it take until people started rolling in?
People don't roll in. Let me tell you where people roll in. People roll into the emergency room in wheelchairs. They roll in there. People don't roll into our practice. And the reason why is because, again, a person has to be sick and tired of being sick and tired, and they have to recognize and understand that their body actually can heal. And that takes a process because we're brainwashed. We're trained that you get sick, you go to a doctor, the doctor writes you a prescription, or you get a surgery, or they do something to heal you. That's how we were programmed. And it takes an education, and it takes experience, and it takes to be jaded like I was with my dad. It takes that for your eyes to open.
So how long did it take until you got customers?
What I do to get customers is I educate. So
But they also would have to trust you, and if you didn't, like, I'm meaning like your first ever client, like they didn't know that if it would actually work because it didn't have any reviews to go off of.
True. Some of my first clients were people that I met in the hospital. So they knew me, they trusted me. So those were some of my first clients.
Okay.
Now, clients after that, people would read the book. And so when they read the book, they want to meet the author. And so I would speak at different events. I would basically speak to anybody who would listen. And when I spoke, you remember you used to help me with my dinner talks, right? When I spoke, I would explain to them why they're feeling the way that they're feeling. And I would explain to them how the medical system is failing them. Because they know they're sick. They know they're frustrated. They know that they're not getting help from their doctors, but they don't know why. And so they're trying to seek information. So I would give the information and I would explain this to them. When you explain something to someone, then they trust you. They says, okay, thank you for telling me that. Can you help me? Sure. And that's how I started getting